Hello everyone, just want to say a big thank you again to everybody that watched the video last week and got involved in the comments. And I was thinking if anyone's got any questions about Cheltenham or the upcoming National Hunt season, you can leave them in the comments to this video and I can read them out during the next video. And then that way everyone can have to say in the comments and everybody can get involved and I can give my opinion for what it's worth, just to make it a little bit more interactive if that's your cup of tea anyway. But moving on, I'm going to just kind of squeeze this video in today because I've had a nightmare. Like, I've lost my passport and I'm overseas, I'm in a different continent, so I've been in touch with gov.uk all week. It's just been the week from hell trying to sort it and trying to see how fast I can get another passport over here. So I wasn't even thinking about doing one of these videos until I saw that a couple of horses that I want to put up could potentially crash very soon. So I'm going to just kind of squeeze this video in. But like I said, I've made no secret in the previous videos that I don't mind backing multiple horses in a race, and I don't mind backing the same horse in different races. I know you could call it like definite losers, but it's just the way I gamble. And I'm going to do that now. I'm going to do a few examples of that now anyway, because we'll put Ferny Hollow up for the Arkle, 1 point, 11 to 1. I've backed that. I don't know if any of you have, but it's looking good, maybe because Willie Mullins has come out and said in Sporting Life that it's still a plan to go novice chasing. Obviously, until he jumps a fence, nothing's set in stone, especially with Willie Mullins, but it's encouraging to hear them type of things rather than he might be staying over hurdles, which has happened to one of my other selections, well, I'll get on to later. But we're back Ferny Hollow for the Arkle, 1 point. Well, I have anyway, 11 to 1. I'm hoping he goes this way, and that's the way my gut says he's going to go, but he's still 16 to 1 for the Marsh chase. I know we've backed Bob Olinger for this race, but I don't think there's any harm in having 0.5 points as a little saver on Ferny Hollow at 16 to 1. I'll log this at the end for the Marsh chase because it's 50-50 who's going to go where out of Ferny Hollow, and appreciate it. I'm hoping Ferny Hollow goes to the Arkle, obviously, but just in case he goes to Marsh, I want a saver. And it's also a saver in case Bob Olinger gets injured, or not just in case Ferny Hollow ends up not going the Arkle. So he's 16 to 1 on Sky Bet, Paddy Power, William Hill, Betfair. According to odds checking anyway, you've got your pick of a few there. So 0.5 points of Ferny Hollow for the Marsh. I've already touched on why I like this horse in the past. Listen, I say why I've liked the horse. We all know what he's about. It doesn't take no special talent to pick him out, but I just think I've got a point on him for the Arkle, 11 to 1. I'm happy to have 0.5 points on him at 16 to 1. At 16 to 1 for the Marsh chase. Sorry, I just had to stop and start that there because my girlfriend just decides to come bouncing in the room. And I'm not that comfortable in front of the camera yet to carry on when people are watching me. But yeah, so that's 0.5 points, Ferny Hollow for the Marsh chase, 16 to 1. I know I've already backed Bob Olinger in this and we've already backed Ferny Hollow for the Arkle, but yeah, that's the way I'm going to gamble on that race. So moving on to another horse that I previously backed. I backed this last week and it's Gaillard Du Mesnil. Obviously, we've backed them 25 to 1 for the RSA, or the Festival Novice Chase, what it's now called. But when you're backing horses this far out, obviously you're always just going off your gut instincts, the races you believe they should go for. A lot can change, and Paddy Mullins has already come out and said that he's a bit of a smaller type, so Gaillard Du Mesnil could end up going for the stayers hurdle. But I think he'd have a cracking chance in because I think it's quite wide open, the stayers. You could say Flooring Porter last year, I know he impressed a lot of people. I can't take to this horse, I don't know why. I always thought he got a soft lead, but then fair enough. No excuses at Cheltenham. Like, I believe it was a great performance on the clock. I'm no expert with all that type of stuff, but a lot of people were raving over it, so maybe he is the real deal. He flopped at punches time, but you could take that form with a pinch of salt always at the end of the season. But yeah, I think for the defending champion, I'll take him on. I think Classical Dream is probably the best bet in this race, but he's like 6 to 1 and he's very fragile. So there's a caution when you're backing Classical Dream for this race. I think he's only made one appearance in about 2 years. That might be exaggerating, but it's a long time anyway. Fair enough, he bolsters up, and he still probably will gun to me head be a selection for the stayers hurdle. But just because I do like this Gaillard Du Mesnil, and I backed him for the RSA because I thought he was vastly overpriced if he went there. And I think he's vastly overpriced for the stayers hurdle. Like I say, you've got Time Hill, Flooring Porter, Classical Dream at the top of the market, all around 5, 6, 8 to 1. Then a lot of the rest, you wouldn't think are gonna go this route, like Champ, Bob Olinger, Galopin de Champs, all going chasing. Just running over these quickly today. But Gaillard Du Mesnil's in there at 25 to 1, and he's 25 to 1 on Betfair, Betway, and Paddy Power. So you can take your pick out them three again. And I'm going to put 0.5 points up again on Gaillard Du Mesnil for the stays hurdle at 25 to 1. Because if he stays hurdling, I think he's got a great chance here. And then if he schools well, as Paddy Mullins put it, he said that out the novice hurdlers, which ones school the best, that'll probably determine who goes chasing. I think they've probably already got an idea in their heads anyway, of course they have, but he was saying it's all up in the air, but his gut feeling is that Gaillard Du Mesnil is a tiny bit small and might be better over a hurdle than a fence. So we're going to cover bases because, of course, we could get bumped and he could end up going for he could end up schooling well and going for the Marsh chase because he has got a lot of form over 2.5 miles, but I just don't think he'd be that competitive here. The horse looks like he's crying out for 3 miles. So I'm going to split my stakes on Gaillard Du Mesnil. I've got 0.5 points on him already for the RSA or the Festival Novice Chase at 25 to 1. And I'm going to do the same here. 0.5 points on him for the Stayers Hurdle at 25 to 1. And I'm happy then. It's only a point staked in total on Gaillard Du Mesnil, but split between 2 races. Like I say, I normally wouldn't have this problem. I'd just back all the horses any race anyway. But I think he's 7 to 1 any race. It's just ridiculous, really, the prices. I'm not sure if it works out any better backing it the way. I'm not that good at maths to do that fast off the top of my head. If it would have been better to just do 1 point like that, which I don't think it would be. I think it's better to split them 0.5, but you can tell me in the comments. Rather than have 1 point or 7 to 1, just have 0.5 and 25 to 1 on the both different races. So yeah, that's the second one I'm putting up this week. And then I'm going to put another one up, but I'll do that later because I'll explain my reasoning behind this. So it's Dan Royal coming up on the Friday and the Saturday of this week. And it's no secret that Gordon Elliott always likes unleashing a strong team at Dan Royal. Like for last season, for example, he unleashed 2 festival winners, at least I think, Sir Gerhard, Quilixios. He had Farouk Delen that ended up being quite a smart staying novice hurdler. So it was probably his best novice hurdler for them staying distances at the start of the season. He unleashed Envoy Allen. He unleashed, can't think who else he had, Sir Gerhard. Bally Adam was another one. Obviously, he didn't amount to much in the end, but he did end up winning the Grade 1 and coming second in the Supreme. And it's just early festival pointers to who Gordon's strongest horses are for each division, I feel, at Dan Royal. For instance, like the season before, he unleashed Envoy Allen again and Fury Road. I know Fury Road didn't go on to win the Albert Bartlett, but it was a hot renewal that year. So I just think there's clues to be found here. Again, this isn't some amazing discovery by me. I'm sure a lot of you are already on it. But a way I like to bet, I pick 4 of Gordon Elliott's horses at Dan Royal at the start of the season and put them in a speculative lucky 15 like last season. I was on a lucky 15 based on the Dan Royal entries. And I went for Bally Adam 16 to 1 for the Supreme, Quilixios 20 odd to 1 for the Triumph Hurdle, Sir Gerhard 20 odd to 1 for the Triumph Hurdle, and Envoy Allen, I think he was 5 to 2 or 3 to 1 for the Marsh. Only 2 of them ended up winning at the festival, but it was the 2 biggest prices, and Envoy Allen fell and Bally Adam come second. He was a remote second, don't get me wrong, to appreciate it. I'm not saying the lucky 15 was close to landing, but at the same time, it went a million miles away and it was still an alright little payout. I done a £1 lucky 15, £15 stake, and I got 2 winners at 20 plus to 1. And if Envoy Allen was a winning, or appreciate it would have fell at the last, and Bally Adam was a one, like it could have paid a lot of money. And I just think it's worth a little speculative bet. And I'll be picking 4 of Gordon's horses that are entered over the 2 days at Dan Royal. If it is 2 days, I think 2-day meeting. Still a bit rusty with me national hunts. It's only just getting going again, but I think it's a 2-day meeting. But yeah, I think I'll just pick like a speculative lucky 15. I'm not advising that because it is just a stab in the dark, but that's just a little technique about how I bet again, sorry. But one horse I am going to put up that I have seen is declared in the 2 mile 6 race. I think it's the first race of the meeting. It's Hollow Games for the Albert Bartlett. I've already backed the George, but I still think he's worth putting up again now. I'm just in the back room of my apartment, so I'm just, yeah, it's loaded now. So let's have a look. We're looking for Hollow Games in the Albert Bartlett. I think he's around 28 to 1 or 25 to 1. Can't really find him at the moment. Yeah, 33 to 1 he is. and that is with, sorry, connection's awful, I can't wait to get a new apartment. 33-1 on Bet365, Hollow Games. And then he's 25, Sky Bet, 20s, Paddy Power, 20s, William Hill. You could argue that 33s on Bet365 is worth taking right now. I'm suggesting it anyway, and if you can't get on Bet365, I'd still take 25s on Sky Bet. The reason being, this must be just off normal trends over the last couple of years. Gordon Elliott's one of his best hopes for the stay in Novice Hurdle division. So you're expecting him to come out and win, and maybe come out and win impressively in this race. And even though it's a terrible race, I haven't really looked at it in depth, but it's probably just your bang average maiden. Correct me if I'm wrong, like I say, I've only had quick skim and scans through these races because I've had a mad week. But if Hollow Games comes out and wins by 15 lengths, looking impressive, even if he hasn't beat much, we know what the bookies are like, they'll cut him, and then you'll be thinking, I wish I took that 33s. I don't think Gordon Elliott's ever won the Albert Bartlett, but there's a first time for everything, and he's definitely got the ability to train a horse to win it. He's come close a couple of times off the top of my head with, I think Commander and Fleet come second to Malala Inzo, and then, if that was the right name of the horse, and then Fury Road come third or fourth, I think it was third, in that strong Albert Bartlett with Time Hill. Monkfish and latest exhibition. So I'm going to advise a point on Hollow Games because I do think this is the race he's going to go to. I was a bit worried because Gordon Elliott said in a stable tour that this horse could start off over 2 miles. He's got that much pace, but he's entered for 2 miles 6, so I'm happy with that. That's settled me down a bit, and I'd be happy to stake a point on him going this way. It's great if he does possess the speed for 2 miles, and they think of him as a potential stay in Novice Hurdler, and hopefully he can have a bit of the complete package. And he could go well in this race. Obviously, it's very far out, especially for the Albert Bartlett, but I'm happy to have a point on Hollow Games. Again, I don't know how much all this type of information's worth to you, but I think last season, Gordon Elliott, Davy Russell and Keith Donoghue might have all said like this is the horse to follow. Maybe not the best in the yard, but you come with a big reputation, and the Morans are building a strong team, and I'm happy to have a speculative 1 point on this because it's 33-1. Listen, most of these type of punts won't land, but if one of these goes in at 33-1, it pays for a ton of bets, and it's the type of one that can just double your profit for a week or anything like that. Or if you're having a bad week, it could bail you out. So that's Hollow Games for the Albert Bartlett. So yeah, I just listed 3 bets from this week for you all right now. If I ever forget to list them at the end of the video, I'll always try and add it on like a little bonus clip like this at the end of the video. I'll just edit it in, and if I even forget that, I'll always log every single bet in the video description so that you can keep up to date with them all, whether you just want to follow them to see how I'm getting on over the course of the season or after the Cheltenham Festival, or whether you want to play them yourself. It's entirely up to you. But the bet this week was a 2-point staked in total. It was 0.5 points on Ferny Hollow for the Marsh Chase, 16-1. 0.5 points on Gaillard Du Mesnil for the Stayers Hurdle, 25-1. And 1 point on Hollow Games, 33-1 for the Albert Bartlett. Like I say, I've rushed to get this video in because I believe now's the time to play these bets, especially the Ferny Hollow one and the Hollow Games one. Reason being, of course, the reasons speak for themselves, because Hollow Games is making its debut on Friday, and you know what the bookies are like. If he wins impressively, they'll cut him despite how deep the race is. You know what they're like. So I think you're best getting on now if you want to back Hollow Games at the 33s, because even if he destroys a weak field, or even if he wins by half a length, hard driven, they're going to cut him. I believe so anyway. So that's the reason for getting Hollow Games in so urgently. And then Ferny Hollow, we know he's one step closer to jumping a fence now, because Willie Mullins has come out for a second time and hinted that he's going this way. I still think he's yet to speak to the owners, but fingers crossed he's going to go this way. His price could contract. I couldn't believe he was still 16-1 for the Marsh Chase, because, like I say, the bookies cut anything. And I thought that people might have started backing him because they heard that news today that he's going Novice chasing, but maybe everyone's just thinking the same as me, that he's going to go for that Arkle. But listen, if Appreciated's the one that's entered over 2 miles and Ferny Hollow's entered over 2 miles 4 in a Novice chase, the price will contract for the Marsh Chase of Ferny Hollow, but they're probably going to both start off in different races over 2 miles anyway, aren't they? But I'd still like to just get the 16-1 as a saver on now, 0.5 points Ferny Hollow. And that's all my bets for this week. Like again, say it one more time, sorry if it was a bit rushed. This week I normally love to ramble on about the races for ages, but I just thought this week I'd just try and get the bets on because, like I say, I believe now is the right time to play them. Just my thoughts on Darn Royal, it's early season form, I don't really get too involved, but I do want to see Envoy Allen come out and jump well and run well, because I know a lot of people a lot of these pundits especially, it's like they don't like seeing a good horse. They wanted them to get beat all season last year. I love Envoy Allen, I think he's class. I'm not going to write him off because of his 2 first runs for Henry. And I hope that he can come back and look himself at Darn Royal, and then I'd like to see him move on to the King George, because I think that race is made for him. I think most of his novice chasers last season were going right-handed. Not that it matters to a horse like Envoy Allen. When he's on full flow, he looks intelligent. He'll run around any track. But I do think that flat 3 miles round Kempton would suit Envoy Allen, because he's got the speed, and besides his last two races, besides his last 2 runs last season, he was a good jumper for Gordon Elliott. So if Henry the Bromwich could get him jumping like that again, get a bit of confidence back into him, I don't see no reason why he can't run a stormer at Kempton on Boxing Day. Obviously, you look at Manella Indo when he fell in the Savills chase, and then he jumped awful at the Dublin Racing Festival, and then went and won the Gold Cup at Cheltenham. Henry knows what he's doing. I've got faith that he'll get Envoy Allen back. I hope so anyway, because like I say, you root for these superstars in horse racing, but I suppose it's subjective, because I was someone that hated Goshen. Listen, it would have been nice for Jamie Moore and Gary Moore, if that's the names, to bounce back from that Triumph Hurdle disaster, but I just never liked Goshen. I could never take to him. I thought he was overrated, and I was one of them guys that did root for him to get beat, because I just couldn't have all this champion hurdle talk. So maybe I'm a hypocrite complaining about people who don't like Envoy Allen, another potential superstar if he isn't already. And Manella Indo's out he hasn't been declared yet, but I think he is definitely going to Darn Royal on Saturday. And listen, it's early season form. I know he's more of a spring horse usually, but he won his first start last season. I know it wasn't a grade 1 like this, but I expect him to get the job done and just let everyone in that Gold Cup sphere know that he's not going to give up his crown easily. And I love Manella Indo. Like I say, I had him for the Gold Cup last year, so even though I'm not going to back him for the Gold Cup this year, at this stage anyway, even though he's got a great chance, I'll still be rooting for him to win on Saturday. And that's this video, yeah. Like I say, the jump's just going to get really in full swing now, if it hasn't already. The flat's basically finished. I know you've got the Breeders' Cup. I don't like the Breeders' Cup. It's a bit of a good spectacle, I suppose, but from a betting point of view, no. I had Santa Barbara anti-post for the Breeders' Cup, but obviously, sadly, she's passed away, so that was my only anti-post bet I had. Lack of imagination, as always with me, but I think Tarnawa is a good thing. I think she's only 13 to 8, like in the Breeders' Cup turf. She'd be the only one that really interests me at the moment, but I'm sure I'll have a few small dabbles near the time, probably on the day, just for a bit of fun while I'm watching, a few harmless bets. And yeah, that's basically it for the flat season. I love the flat. I'm not someone that's just Cheltenham's driven, I'm Cheltenham's driven in terms of the national hunt steer, but I'm not someone that just likes one code. I absolutely love the flat. I'm a massive fan of Coolmore and Ballydoyle. I've got Luxembourg back for the Derby, after time, but I'm just thinking what just happened in the flat recently. I backed him 37 to 1 for the Derby, boosted, or 38 to 1 it might be. Obviously, it's a long way off. He could even be more a Guineas horse, but I thought he was impressive the other day in the Virgin Futurity, and the last 4 winners of that race have all come out and won Guineas. 3 won the 2000 at Newmarket, and 1, Max Winnie last season, won the Irish 2000 Guineas. So it is a good race for producing winners. Obviously, it's only 6 months to the Guineas. It's not that far away, even though it's next season. Luxembourg's looking good. I'm not sure if he'll win the Guineas, but I'm hoping he'll win the Derby. And yeah, that's enough flat talk anyway, because most of you are probably them type of people that just like national hunts and that just come to this video to watch me talk about Cheltenham, hopefully. And yeah, that's all. So catch you later, and hopefully next video will be a bit more in-depth for anyone that likes that type of stuff. Well, as in-depth as I can possibly make it anyway, mostly just me rambling on. So goodbye.